Oh. Whew, right. Oh man, I am absolutely bloody freezing. It was so cold out there today. Although I shouldn't be complaining, because at least I got to go to the game. So yeah, that's rough with the smooth, as they say. Anyway, yeah, Derby won. They stacked the third 1-0 win in a row. This time they beat Bristol City pretty convincingly. David Marshall didn't really have anything to do. To be fair, neither did Bentley in the other goal, apart from the one effort from Martin Wycombe, which he took down nicely and spun and volleyed, took a deflection, he had to tip it over. Good evening, Kieran. And then there was the effort from Matt Clark, where he doesn't catch it right from a corner and it gets scrambled away. But other than that, like, keepers didn't really have that much to do. But it always felt like Derby were in control and that they had kept Bristol City at arm's length. First and foremost, want to extend my well wishes to Krystian Bielik. He suffered what might be a nasty knee injury. Now, Wayne Rooney said it didn't look good, and we will have to, see what the assessment brings out. But yeah, that didn't look good. It didn't sound good either. There was so when he went down, you could hear him. So like the press box, let's just say it's here, but he was like on the far side, like near the corner flag nearly. He was all the way over there. And you could hear him like screaming, not screaming, more like yelping. It was not comfortable. And then the stretch comes out and they put the cast on his leg and all of that just sucked. Absolutely sucked. And the vibes were weird after that as well. Like Derby really needed half time. Just to sort of compose themselves again. Excuse me, just compose themselves again more than anything. But yeah, that kind of sucked. Interesting in terms of tactically what Derby did. They had so much space down the sides, it was unreal, and they kept getting sort of these overloads up the left in particular. So what they do is they'd stack Buchanan, Shinnie, and Knight sort of up the left. And it created this sort of 3-on-2 bind, and the defenders didn't know what they were taking, and that meant that Shinnie and particularly Buchanan got a lot of space down there. Crosses were pretty good overall on that left side. On the right side, Uzviak had an off day in terms of his final ball, but again was dangerous in terms of running and doing all those kinds of things. When Bristol City set up in this sort of 4-2-2 system, what that allowed Derby was just so much space in the middle, because the two central midfielders for Bristol City were pretty deep, which meant no one was really marking Bielik and then Bird and Shinnie in there, and it just gave them so much freedom to play through the middle, to play down the sides. That was really, really good. This team defensively is day and night to what it was in October. It's just day and night. Andre Wisdom might not even have to wash his shirt. They were absolutely excellent. And it was a case of, a lot of credit needs to go to Bird and Shinnie in there as well for screening. But they were just so comfortable, really, really comfortable. They stepped out with their forward when they needed to. They nicked the ball, perfectly timed challenges all the time when they needed to. When crosses came in, they were headed out expertly. They just didn't really have their feathers ruffled at all. Now, that was really, really good. On Evans, and as Justin Smith asked in there, both things can be true. He did miss out because he had to have a pain injection, which is what Rooney said, but also he is being allowed to leave if he would like to leave. Rooney said he couldn't guarantee him starts. That might change with Bielik's injury. So we might see something shake out different there. But by the sounds of it in Rooney's presser, he's going to let Evans explore his options and see how we get on there. It is incumbent on Derby now to get bodies through the door, and quality players as well. Rooney did say that they need more than one player, 2, 3, 4 if they can get them in. I don't know any names outside of I believe they're still keen on Tyler Roberts, but that's the only name I know. And to be fair to Derby and to Rooney, like a lot of credit has to go to them for names not being sort of leaked out anywhere or not declaring their interest in anyone. Because if he wants 4 players through the door, presumably he's got 4 players lined up. And I mean, I've not heard any names, and I've not really heard any other names. Phil Jones, as I've just seen in there, I have a lot of issues with this and people connecting these dots. One is Derby need fit players right now, and name me the last time Phil Jones played a football match. The second one is there is no way he turns up unless Man United pay all of his wages and presumably bonuses. He is on money. There's just no way Derby can afford that. And also, I think they need to address higher up the pitch first. Now, the Bielik injury, maybe because he could play at centre back, although Rooney said he would never play him at centre back. But yeah, they do need depth at centre back, but they need more up front before they, I think, address that centre back. Look, Phil Jones in a vacuum would be great, and I know people chuckle and laugh, and it's Phil Jones. Like, he's still a Premier League defender. He's still good. The problem is that he's not played a lot of games, and he's on a load of money. Derby need players that aren't on a lot of money and are kind of ready to go right now. You can't be waiting 2 months for Phil Jones to get fit. You need players now. Right, into the chat. Yes, very glad, David, that I got out of bed for this one. Definitely not answering your Packers question that you've just dropped in, because that's cruel and you're a jackass. Any updates on Dursun? That's gone very, very quiet, which leads me to believe that he's probably not Rooney's guy anymore. Rooney is going to have a big, big say in these transfers. He wouldn't have become permanent manager if he didn't have certain assurances. I imagine recruitment was one of them. The Dursun thing has gone rather quiet, and I imagine that's because Rooney would explore other options. Perhaps he sees Dursun too much in the mould of Colin Kazim-Richards and needs a striker with a different skill set. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of how the game goes when managers change. Sometimes targets, personnel, all those things can change as well. Sorry, LB. In terms of names, I honestly don't. I just know that they're keen on Tyler Robertson, have been for a while. But in terms of names, I don't. And I think that's credit to the club and stuff like that, and Rooney for not letting those names get out, and people involved in those deals for not letting those names get out. If he's saying that tomorrow he is expecting players tomorrow, then that means those deals must be close to being wrapped. And we ain't even, you look at Derby people that report across Derby across the board. I don't think there's been, people reporting so-and-so is having a medical at Derby tomorrow, so-and-so is going to sign tomorrow. That's from me to Nico to Percy to people like that. There hasn't been any of that. And that's good to keep things like that in-house. So, yes, we will see. What else we got? What do you think of the Bielik injury first sight, right? Luke, yeah, it looked like a dislocation. It didn't look like it. So there was the Bristol City communications team was sat in front of us, and they had a monitor on. And when they showed the replay of the Bielik injury, his leg was kind of floppy, and it just didn't look good. It didn't look like a torn ACL. And I know that sounds weird, but having watched like loads of American football, you can kind of see when something's a torn ACL, and that didn't look like it. It looked like a dislocation or a break. Now, if it's a clean one, maybe that makes the recovery easier. He needs an assessment. But just based on that, like, he'll be lucky if he plays again this season. Like, if it's an Andre Gomez thing, remember the Andre Gomez injury against Spurs, where it was just, oh my God, that is horrific. And then he played again like 2 months later. If it's that, then that is massively, massively lucky for everyone concerned. If it's not, then that is heartbreaking, not just for Derby, but for Krystian himself. He has been just lights out since returning. And it looked like after his ACL, it looked like he got himself fit to get into the Poland side for the Euros. So, yeah, that just absolutely sucks for him. Apparently, Umanias was ready to sign me. But yeah, Umanias was a name that I'd heard doing the rounds a little bit when Koku was there. Yeah, I wouldn't be keen on Umanias, if I'm honest. Look, if that is your last resort, then fine, go for it. But I wouldn't be keen on it. Tom Ince is a cheap option. Maybe. My issue with Tom Ince would be he's a bit too much like Tom Lawrence, in that he's very, very talented, left foot, right foot, but he's really inconsistent. He is really inconsistent. And also, I think and this is part of the problem that I think we as a fan base experience with Jordan Ibe, is you bring Jordan Ibe in and think this is great, he was amazing last time, X, Y, and Z. He's a totally different scenarios now, totally different. So you never really know. Ince was brilliant in terms of his goal return for Derby from a wide man when he was there last time. He ain't that guy no more. Derby aren't that team no more. So it's different. It's a different environment. I'm not so sure he would fit. And I'm not so sure. I think Derby, if they scout properly, could maybe do a little bit better. So, yeah. Is Aaron Rodgers free for a few months to quarterback the middle? No. I mean, yeah, I guess technically, yeah, he is free. But can we not talk about the Packers? Juan Mata, I tell you what, if you want to shoot for the moon, go get Juan Mata. Financially, obviously, no. Right, look. What else we got? Anything in there? Follow on. I've always questioned his leg strength in general. I don't know. Like, Krystian looks like a big dude. Like, look, there are injuries that, like, you can't account for a torn ACL. Like, that's one of those big injuries that, you know, it's not like it's, oh, they've always got calf problems, oh, they've always got a hip problem. Like, a torn ACL is not a freak, but that's more luck than your body type or, you know, your biomechanical composition. Like, that dislocation, it looks like he gets his leg caught in the pitch. Now, that's not to blame the pitch, but if you're trying to put weight that way and then it goes that way and it's just, you know, a freak incident, you can't really legislate for stuff like that. You know, that's just a freak accident. So I don't think it's, while I get it, Chris, I don't think it's kind of fair either, because they're two big injuries. It's not like he came back and kept having calf problems or kept picking up little niggles like he had done during his sort of first few months with the club. You know, he'd been rolling. It was remarkable actually that he came back from an ACL and kind of looked like he'd not missed a beat. Like, you look at the first game he came into, I think it was the Coventry game, he looked pretty good. Like, he didn't look like he'd been away for 9 months and didn't know how he was feeling. Now, he had an under-23s game where he was a little bit shaky. But overall, like, he'd made a pretty remarkable recovery without picking up setbacks, and he was playing 90 minutes consistently. I don't think that's an issue with his legs. I just think it's awful luck, and it sucks. Martin, Nav. That Martin is interesting because once he came on, he kept dropping deep, and at first he was finding little pockets of space, and Bird and Wisdom were sort of trying to sort out who was picking him up. And then once they'd sorted that, actually, he was a non-factor. He didn't have anything really to go at, and the more that he kept trying to go in there, the more that it became easier. Derby either passed him off, and eventually Wisdom and Clark ended up stepping up with him. He was a non-factor all game. Again, names. I know it's, but honestly, names I really don't know. If Rooney's saying he's got 4 players, 3 that he wants to bring in, 4 that he wants to bring in, presumably he already knows them and they're close to being wrapped. And there have been no reports or no leaks anywhere. Anthony Gordon at Everton would be very good. I would be here for that. Alan Nick says he's got some Derby story on tomorrow. So Alan Nixon blocked me. Alan Nixon blocked me because he thought I'd copied his work when I didn't. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't see Alan Nixon's reports. Don't know. Right, guys, I'm going to have to jump for a short one tonight because I've got stuff to do and I've got to meet my Tesco delivery guy pretty soon. Look, thanks, everybody. Thanks so much for joining in again. Like, our numbers are always climbing, man. So this is absolutely brilliant. You guys and girls jump in here and all that, ask questions and have a good time and stuff like that. All of you enjoy. No guitar solo, no nipple reveal, not this night. You all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Derby won, so this is good. Yes, Derby won, 3 wins on the spin. All of you just take care, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.